The loan officer slid the folder across his desk like it was something contaminated. Inside was a mortgage application with my signature, printed in neat blue ink. My social security number, my employer, and a grainy security photo of a woman in a beige coat standing at the teller window. He turned the photo toward me, lowered his voice, and said, "Ms. Voss, before I ask anything else, is this you?" It was my sister, smiling under the bank camera with my mother's pearl earrings on. "My name is Heather Voss. I'm 33 years old, and that was the first time I understood my family hadn't just chosen my sister over me. They had learned how to become me. I had walked into Pine Harbor Credit Union 20 minutes before closing, with my coat still damp from the rain and my hands shaking around a folded credit report. The report had come in the mail that afternoon, tucked between a dental bill and a grocery flyer, and I had opened it at my kitchen counter expecting a mistake. There it was, a mortgage, $318,000, opened 6 weeks earlier. My sister's new address printed beneath my name, the same house she had posted online 2 nights before with gold balloons tied to the porch railing, and a caption that said, "Finally home. So blessed." In the photo, my parents stood beside her on the front steps. My father had one hand on her shoulder. My mother was holding a little white gift bag from Crate and Barrel. My sister, Jenna Voss, was in the center holding a ring of keys above her head like she had won something. I remembered staring at that picture for a long time, not because she had a house, because nobody had told me. Then my phone buzzed, my mother. I answered without saying hello. She sighed before I even spoke. "Heather, don't make this ugly." That sentence told me everything and nothing. I said, "Why is there a mortgage on my credit report?" There was a pause, then a cabinet door closing in the background. She was probably in her kitchen, probably loading the dishwasher one-handed, probably annoyed that I had interrupted her evening. "She needed a home more than you needed a score," she said. Not an apology, not shock, not confusion. A sentence she had practiced. I drove to the bank with that sentence repeating in my head until it stopped sounding like words and started sounding like a verdict. The loan officer's nameplate said Martin Keene. He was polite in the careful way people get when they realize the problem in front of them may become evidence. He asked for my driver's license, then my social security card, then stared at his screen just long enough for the room to go quiet. "Your application was completed in person," he said. "I didn't complete anything." He swallowed. There was a co-borrower interview. Identification was presented. I pointed at the security photo. "That is my sister." He didn't argue. That was the worst part. No one argued. All my life, Jenna got the benefit of the doubt before the doubt even arrived. If money disappeared from my dresser, I had misplaced it. If she borrowed my clothes and stained them, I was selfish for caring. If she cried at dinner, the entire table rearranged itself around her sadness, and I became useful, the responsible one, the calm one, the one with the steady job, the paid-off car, the savings account, the credit score my father once bragged about at a barbecue like it belonged to him. "She's always been fragile," my mother used to say. What she meant was, Jenna was allowed to break things. I was expected to absorb the damage, but sitting in that bank office, looking at my sister's face beside my stolen signature, I realized this wasn't a favor that had gone too far. This was a plan with paperwork. Martin turned another page and said, almost apologetically, "There are 2 additional documents you need to see." Martin placed the first document in front of me. It was a gift letter. My father's name was typed at the bottom, stating he had given me $42,000 toward the down payment and expected no repayment. Beside his signature was my mother's, witnessing it. I stared at the number until my eyes burned. "My parents don't have $42,000, I said. Martin didn't answer. He slid over the second document, a bank statement. Mine, or almost mine. Same bank logo, same format, same address. But the account number wasn't mine, and the balance showed $68,914.22. I had never had $68,000 in my life. This was submitted as proof of reserves, he said. I laughed once, because if I didn't, I was going to throw up. My sister used fake statements? Martin's face tightened. I can't make that determination, but I can tell you the file contains multiple items that now appear inconsistent. Inconsistent, I repeated. Fraud had such soft office words. I pulled out my phone with numb fingers and called my father. He answered on the fourth ring. Hey, kiddo. Did you sign a gift letter for Jenna's house? Silence. Then quietly, where are you? At the credit union. Another silence. Longer. Put your mother on, he said. No. Heather. No, did you sign it? He exhaled through his nose. Your sister was desperate. That was when something in me went still. Not shattered, not exploded, still. Did you know she used my name? She couldn't qualify alone. That is not what I asked. She has the baby, he said, like my niece was a legal defense. And Everett walked out. She had nowhere stable. Jenna's boyfriend had not walked out. He had been asked to leave after maxing out 2 credit cards in her name. My parents had turned that into abandonment because tragedy looked better than consequences. So you all committed mortgage fraud. My father snapped, "Watch your mouth." There he was. The man who taught me honesty mattered, unless honesty threatened the family story. I hung up. Martin had pretended not to listen, badly. His ears were red. What happens now? I asked. He folded his hands on the desk. I have to escalate this to our fraud department. You should file a police report and contact the credit bureaus immediately. And the house? I can't advise you beyond the bank's procedures. But his eyes said what his mouth would not. The house could collapse. My sister's perfect porch photo, the balloons, the keys, my mother's blessed comment under it with 5 heart emojis, all built on me. When I walked out, the rain had stopped, but the pavement shone black under the streetlights. I sat in my car and found Jenna's housewarming post again. There were 93 likes. My mother had commented, "So proud of you, sweetheart. You deserve this." I typed a reply. Whose credit score deserves it? Then I deleted it. Public humiliation would feel good for 10 minutes. Paperwork would last longer. I drove straight to the police station. At the front desk, an officer asked, "You want to report identity theft?" I looked down at the folder Martin had copied for me. The fake bank statement, the forged signature, the photo of Jenna wearing my mother's earrings. "Yes," I said. My phone lit up in my hand. "Mom, don't you dare ruin your sister's life over money." I turned the screen toward the officer. "And I'd like to add a witness." The officer's name was Ruiz. She read my mother's text, then looked at me over the top of her glasses. Is she admitting knowledge? I think she's threatening me not to prove it. That helps too. She took my statement for almost 2 hours. Every question felt like peeling skin. Had my sister ever had access to my Social Security number? Yes. My parents kept our birth certificates and old tax documents in a filing cabinet in their den. Had she ever impersonated me before? I thought of the old store card opened when I was 22. The one Mom insisted must have been a clerical error. I had paid the $312 balance to make it go away. "Yes," I said. "I think so." Had my parents helped? I looked at the gift letter again. Yes. By the time I left, I had a case number, instructions to freeze my credit, and 3 missed calls from my father. The 4th came as I was pulling into my apartment complex. I let it go to voicemail. Then Jenna called. I almost didn't answer, but part of me wanted to hear her say it. Not sorry. Jenna rarely made it that far. I wanted to hear the shape of the excuse. "Heather," she sobbed the second I picked up, Please don't do this. I sat in the dark car, keys still in the ignition. Do what? You filed a police report. Yes. You know what could happen to me? I closed my eyes. Do you know what already happened to me? A sharp breath. Then her voice changed, the crying thinning into annoyance. Your credit will recover. Mine won't. I have Lila to think about. There it was, my niece as a shield. You used my identity to buy a house. I was going to refinance. With what credit? Mom said you wouldn't care if it helped Lila. My laugh sounded unfamiliar. Mom said? Jenna went quiet. You were in the bank, I said. You showed my ID, you signed my name. I look enough like you. It was such a stupid, chilling sentence that I couldn't speak. Then she whispered, they told me you owed the family. My fingers tightened around the phone. For what? For getting scholarships? For moving out? For never needing to be rescued loudly enough? Before I could answer, headlights swept across my windshield. A familiar blue SUV pulled in crooked beside me. My mother got out first, wearing her church coat in fury. My father followed slower, like he was already tired of being disappointed in me. Jenna stayed on the phone, breathing in my ear. Mom marched to my window and knocked once, hard. I rolled it down 2 inches. Get out, she said. No. Her face flushed. You went to the police? Yes. You selfish little... Careful, I said, holding up my phone. She's still on the line. My mother froze. For the first time in my life, she looked unsure of what story everyone had agreed to tell. My father stepped closer. Heather, we can fix this privately. No, Dad. You tried privately. That's why I'm here. Mom's mouth twisted. Your sister could lose everything. I looked past them at my apartment window, the only place that had ever been mine because I paid for it, signed for it, earned it. Then she should have used her own name, I said. And for once, I rolled the window up while my mother was still talking. By morning, my credit was frozen, my passwords changed, and my phone had become a courtroom where every relative thought they were the judge. Aunt Carol. Family helps family. Cousin Eli. I get you're mad, but cops. My mother. If Lila ends up homeless, that is on you. I saved every message. At 9:12, Martin called. Our fraud department needs you to come in, he said, and you may want legal counsel. My stomach dropped. Am I in trouble? No, he said quickly, but there's more. Moore was waiting in a conference room with Martin, a woman from fraud named Priya Shah, and a stack of papers twice as thick as the one from yesterday. Priya didn't waste time. The mortgage file includes a notarized occupancy affidavit, electronic consent forms, and a copy of a driver's license. She turned the copy toward me. It was my license, my real license number, my old photo, the one I lost last year after Jenna borrowed my car just to run to the pharmacy. I remembered tearing apart my purse for 3 days, Mom telling me I was careless, Jenna helping me look under the couch cushions. She stole it, I said. Priya's expression softened, but only slightly. We also found an email thread. She printed it for me. From my mother's email address to the loan processor. Heather works long shifts and asked me to help coordinate. Please copy me on anything urgent. Then another. Jenna can attend the appointment on Heather's behalf. They are sisters and look very similar. Heather is aware. My vision tunneled. Not one impulsive lie. Not panic, not desperation, coordination. My mother had not watched this happen. She had managed it. Priya tapped the last page. There is also an insurance policy on the home. Okay? You are listed as the primary insured. I stared at her. Martin looked miserable. If something happened to the property, any claim would come through you. And if the mortgage defaulted, Priya said, it would be reported under your name until the fraud claim is resolved. My life had been turned into Jenna's storage unit. Debt, risk, liability. Anything too heavy for her got labeled Heather. I pressed my palms flat on the table. What do you need from me? A sworn affidavit, consent to compare signatures, confirmation that you did not authorize any representative. I'll sign. Priya slid the papers over. I signed my real name so many times my hand cramped. When I walked out, my father was waiting in the lobby. He stood when he saw me, older than he had looked last night. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here," he said. "Good for her." He flinched. "I brought something." He handed me a manila envelope. Inside were copies of texts between him and Mom. One from my mother read, "Heather won't fight us if we present it as already done. She never does." Another, "Use the old license." Jenna practiced the signature. My throat closed. Dad stared at the carpet. I signed the gift letter. I knew it was wrong, but your mother said we were saving Jenna. "And what were you doing to me?" He didn't answer, because there was no family-friendly word for sacrifice when the lamb is dragged to the altar conscious. I put the envelope in my bag. "Thank you for the evidence," I said. His eyes filled. "Heather, please, don't send your mother to jail." I walked past him toward the rain-bright doors. She should have needed me more than she needed my score. The envelope my father gave me changed everything. Priya forwarded it to the investigators. Officer Ruiz called it corroboration. The bank called it material fraud. My mother called it betrayal, which would have been funny if it hadn't hurt so much. Jenna confessed first, not out of remorse, out of fear. She told police Mom had planned the emails, Dad had signed the gift letter, and she had used my old license because Heather never makes a scene. That sentence followed me longer than the forged mortgage did. The loan was suspended, then unwound. My credit report was corrected after weeks of affidavits, phone calls, certified letters, and one attorney I paid more than my first car cost. The house went back to the bank before Jenna had even finished hanging curtains. Lila did not end up homeless. That was another lie dressed like a weapon. Everett's mother took them in. Jenna hated it, but my niece had a bed, a yard, and someone who did not think felony fraud was a parenting plan. My mother took a plea: probation, restitution, community service, and a permanent look of disbelief that consequences had found her address. Jenna got the same, plus mandatory financial counseling. My father avoided charges by cooperating fully. He also moved into a small apartment over a hardware store. He wrote me letters. I read some, not all. Mom wrote once. It said, "I hope you're happy." I folded it back into the envelope and filed it with the police report. 6 months later, I stood in a different bank with a different loan officer signing papers for a little townhouse on Maple Street. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, a narrow kitchen, a porch just big enough for a chair, and a basil plant. When the loan officer asked for my ID, my hand didn't shake. I slid it across the desk and watched her compare my face to my name. Mine. After closing, I drove to the townhouse alone. No balloons, no family photo, no mother arranging everyone on the steps to make a lie look warm. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The rooms were empty, echoing and completely honest. I set my keys on the windowsill, opened the curtains, and let the afternoon sun spill across the floor like a promise nobody else had signed for me. If you had walked into that bank and seen your sister's face in your mortgage file, what would you have done? If this story stayed with you, tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. And if you want more stories like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.